Hello. So, as ever, I am hopping on a Tuesday to answer a couple of questions if anybody's got any for me. I'll just wait and see if anyone's around. Say hi if you're there so I can see if anyone's there. And also if you're watching this on the replay, then also say hi and I can still see that you're there and that you've cropped up even if it's a bit later. I always pop up on a Tuesday just to answer any questions that anyone might have. I actually have got a question that I was asked last week that I didn't see until afterwards. So I'm going to answer that in a second, which is about how do we stop our thoughts? Someone was asking me, how do you stop your thoughts? Hi, Jackie. You all right? My lovely. Hi, Norma. My child and my dog in tow as well. Oh. Dog stinks at the minute. He's due a groom and a wash, so it's happening on Friday, but for now he stinks, don't you? Oi, Marple, say hello. No, I don't want you to lick. So if anyone's got any questions, do pop them in the comments and let me know. And in a minute, do you mind? Maya, please, darling. Can you? Thank you. Take the dog. Thanks. So the question, I'll get started with a question that was asked of me last week, or the week before, and it was only came up on a message. I didn't see it until afterwards. Sorry. Which was, how do we stop our thoughts? So, as you know, I'm always telling people that your thoughts are creating your feelings, and so basically you are experiencing your life every minute, every second, through your thinking. So it would be quite natural that somebody's then next question would be, so how do we stop them? And I think there are a lot of things out there and a lot of things that you might read and see that will maybe try and encourage you to swap them for more positive thoughts, or to try and, distract yourself, or to try and stop them by doing something. And sometimes that might actually work for a bit. But if you, like me, are someone who has suffered with severe anxiety in the past, that you will know that there are some times where that just doesn't cut it. And you can try all you like to spin it as a positive and distract yourself, but yet your head is just so full of anxious thoughts that it feels almost impossible to do that, and can create even further frustration trying to do so. Because we actually have no control over what thoughts pop into our head at any point. They just pop in. That's how human nature works. Thoughts just pop into our heads. And trying to stop them is almost like trying to say, well, I want a break from breathing today, so I just want to pause my body and my breath and hope that, I can just rest for a while and stop breathing and then it will start up again. That is how much of an unreasonable request, in a way, it is for us to expect ourselves to just stop having thoughts. But where we can kind of explore, and where we can, with understanding, start to allow thoughts just to come and go and pass more naturally, is when we realise that actually thoughts are just made up of a bunch of words put together and mean absolutely nothing until we give them life, until we decide what they mean. I mean, this might sound a bit of a daft example, but in some countries, some words that we use mean something completely different in another country that would horrify. So, for example, the word gift in German actually means poison. So our idea of a gift might conjure up all sorts of thoughts about nice things and surprises and things that give us pleasure, when actually in another country it means something completely different. So the value given to that word is poison, which is negative. So there's lots of angry faces there. I'm not sure why somebody's angry, but put in the comments if you're angry, let me know. So we can't stop ourselves from having thoughts. They are just going to pop up. And it is then about what we do with them. It's then about how we bring them to life, really, and realise how they work and what they are. Because the more we understand how they are, the more we can actually then feel in a place that we can choose to ignore them or not, and stop them from building up to a point where our mind becomes so busy that we just can't see and think clearly, and we can get stuck in a rut. It affects our mood and all sorts of stuff. So if you start to tell, because I hear it a lot in my coaching group and things like that, because I'm going to really try and stop overthinking this week. Well, straight away, that is a contradiction, because if we're going to try to stop thinking, you're going to be trying really hard and you're probably not going to get anywhere. It's almost like the opposite of that. It's like, don't try, just notice that they come and they go, and actually don't mean anything until you give them energy. They don't mean anything until you decide that they do. So I once gave an example at a presentation that I was doing in an employer, for an employer. And a lot of these people wouldn't have known who I was and wouldn't have followed me on my page or anything like that, but the first time they met me. So actually, they don't kind of know my sense of humour or what I'm like, really. So it might have been a bit of a shock to them. But one of the things I said is, a thought pops into my head, shall I have tea or coffee? And a thought might pop into my head going, I want to kill my husband. And neither of them are any less important or valued or scary or shocking than the other. They're both just thoughts. And they looked at me. There was one particular guy in the audience who looked at me as if I was mad. It's like, how can you say they're not the same thing? And they're both just thoughts that could randomly pop up at any time. And I can't control it. Where we then start to add value is, so I might have a thought, shall I have tea or coffee? And then think, oh, well, I prefer tea today because I've already had a coffee, and, so I can think my way through it and then I can come to a decision. If I then think I'm going to kill my husband, he's perfectly safe, by the way, don't worry. I want to kill my husband. And that can be just a thought that can pass because he's frustrating me or he's annoying me, and it doesn't mean anything. It's just a random thought. And then I've not sat there thinking, how would I do it? And when am I going to do it? It's not planned. It's just a thought that comes and goes. With your children might be screaming and going, oh, I could kill him. We know that you don't actually really believe you're going to kill them. But what keeps the thoughts there longer is them go, oh, I can't believe I just had that thought that I want to kill my husband. How terrible am I? I'm such a bad person. And you bring it to life as though you've really, really seriously thought about killing them. You haven't. It's just a thought that pops up and it means nothing. It's no more valuable than shall I have a tea or a coffee? Like literally no more valuable until you make it so. And you might be watching this now and think she's off a trolley. Like, how can she say they're the same things? They are. They are. Until we give them meaning, until we give them credit, until we give them value, until we beat ourselves up for having them in the first place. So many things we can say and go round in a cycle just from one random thought that cropped up into our head. We might not even know where it's come from, and it means nothing until we continue to layer it with more thought and more thought. So being back at college today was definitely nerve-wracking, just getting back into the routine again. Yeah, change is always nerve-wracking for some people because you might not necessarily like unpredictability and you might want to just know how it's all going to pan out and try and predict the future, but you can't. So just go with it and keep going and it will become more comfortable over time. Hi, Sari, no questions. Hope you're well. Hope everyone is coping the best they can too. Yeah, great. That's a nice thing to say because that's true. Because sometimes, you know what, Jess, sometimes I'll say, oh, have a great day or have a great weekend. And then in my head, because of these 3 principles, there's lots of angry faces again there. If somebody's angry or frustrated with what I'm saying, put in the comments. Honestly, it's absolutely fine. It's just that sometimes if there's a lot of angry faces, Facebook will block it up as if it's something that is inappropriate or people don't like. So put in the comments if there's anything bothering you. I'm more than happy for you to say that because it doesn't show me who it is. Although I might be able to find out. I'll have a look. Yeah, sometimes if I say to people, have a great day, then suddenly in my head it's like, but it's okay if it's not great, like that's all right too, because we're just in such a habit, aren't we, of, oh, have a brilliant weekend, have a great time, and then actually there's not many days that are just completely all great, are they? Because we fluctuate in how we feel. So I like the fact that you've said that, because it is about sometimes just managing. And I was just having a chat actually in another group somewhere where I was saying that one of the things I will often say to people is to strive for average. Because you know what? It's good enough. Average is fine. If we're and again, you know, lots of people in education are like, it's all about excellence, isn't it? Striving for excellence, striving to better ourselves. But actually, do you know what? I'll let you into a little secret. If we were all okay with just striving for average, we'd all be doing way better than average anyway. Because it's about acceptance that if I can only get this far right now, that's enough. That's where I'm meant to be right now. And the more that we stop putting pressure on ourselves and accept who we are as we are, we overachieve because our mind's quieter, and we overachieve when we're settled. So let's just strive to be average. I've gotten into drama and I still don't feel very confident in the room. That's okay. I have known and worked with actors and actresses who may do this all the time, but will still have nerves at times. So again, it's all right to do that. Hate being anxious, I know, but that again is part of the resistance. Like, you see it as something that is so awful and terrible, and I get that it can sometimes feel like that. But actually, you know, it's something that actually is just part of survival, and it's a habit, and it's something, it shows that the system is working because your thoughts are creating those feelings and then you're feeling it. So, but I understand why you would think that, but the more you can accept it, the easier it will be. These live links are amazing. Oh, thanks, Mark. How can I turn my brain off at bedtime, please? It's busy all night. You can't turn it off. It carries on going all through the night. And again, it's just accepting, if that's your time at the moment where if you go to bed and you find that your mind is more busy at night, just accept that that's how you are at night. And so maybe, you know, just try not to fight it, because again, you can go to bed, and I hear it all the time with people that struggle with sleep. Part of the reason they're struggling with sleep is because they've got into a habit or had a few bad nights, and then as soon as they even start getting into their pajamas or whatever it is, then it instantly starts going, oh, what if I don't sleep again? I haven't slept great the last few nights. And it's, again, like with anxiety, the fear of the fear. So the idea that you might not sleep or that your mind's busy at night is by itself then creating more thought at night, because you go into bed probably anticipating that will be the case. So actually, if you can accept that that's just where you are at the moment, and that you might go to bed and have loads of thought, the more accepting of it you become, the more your mind will settle. So maybe try switching it, and rather than going, how do I stop it? How do I stop it? Just go, it's what it is at the moment. I seem to have a really busy mind at night at the minute. It will settle. Hi, I absolutely panic in hospital, and tomorrow I have to take my 6-month-old for an op. I'm terrified. Sounds so selfish. I'm okay near an exit, but that won't be possible. That is not selfish in the slightest. Like, if you're taking, I hope everything's okay. If you're taking your 6-month for an op, that is going to be provoking lots of anxious thoughts anyway. I'm pretty sure of it. So first of all, allow yourself, you know, cut yourself a bit of slack. Any of us, whether we what we believe about hospitals or not, it's likely any parent going to take their 6-month-old for an operation is going to be wishing on some level that they absolutely weren't doing that. So, you know, rather than seeing yourself as selfish for having those thoughts, see, I can almost hear the layers just based on what you've said to me. So you're taking your 6-month-old for an op, unpredictability, uncertainty, stuff that you don't want to have. You've got all of that going on. Then you don't like hospitals, so then you're layering that on top. Oh, I'm not great in hospitals. Then you're going, oh, I shouldn't be thinking like this. How selfish of me. I'm not the one having the op. I just need to be there for my child. And it goes on and on and on. And actually, if we just cut all of that out, yeah, you're going to have some anxious thinking about it. You're going to have feelings about it. But my guess is, knowing how human nature works and how your wisdom and your gut works, is you will just do what you need to do in that moment. And you might just really surprise yourself. Hospitals can't do anything to you. It's only your thoughts about them. And you're already getting into the, I'm not good in hospitals. I panic in hospital. The hospital isn't creating the panic. It's your thoughts about being in the hospital creating the panic. And do you know what? Sounds like there's a lot going on. Give yourself a break. If you go there tomorrow and you feel really panicked, but yet the day comes to an end and the operation goes well, and we keep our fingers crossed that everything goes as it should, even if you've gone through that day with waves of panic, that's okay. You're going to get through it. You're absolutely going to get through it. And if you need to take 5 minutes to get some fresh air, nobody's going to judge you for that. Nobody. I took my daughter, when she was younger, she had to have a camera through her mouth and up the back end as well. And they put her to sleep for it because she was of an age where it'd be too distressing. Well, even getting her in the theatre and to go asleep was traumatic. And I didn't like it one bit. It was awful for all of us. Now you're going a step further than that. So your child is then going to be operated on. And I came out of that room and burst into tears, and I was an absolute emotional wreck for the whole time. But that's all right. It's allowed, because we've got worries and concerns and thoughts, and it's going to pass and it's going to be okay. And I'm sure that they will be in really good hands. And really well looked after. But allow yourself permission. If you need to go to the toilet and sit on the toilet and take 5 minutes for some space, do it. Please don't force yourself to be strong and not be selfish. It's not selfish. It's human nature. You've got stuff going on. You've got thoughts about it. You can only do your best in that moment. And if you need space, take space. Nobody would judge you. And if they do, then they're not worth bothering about. I certainly wouldn't judge you, because I think the fact that you're even going and taking your child and that you're going to, be there is more than enough. So give yourself a break would be my best advice to you. I've not been well now for 2 months and the doctors still aren't sure what is wrong with me. I've not been able to work or do my hobbies, and it's really getting to me now. Yeah, being ill is tough, because our mood can start to drop, because, again, if you're unwell, you've probably got a lot of thought around, well, what is it and why am I like this? And it might be then that you're adding stress onto the top of that, or anxious thinking about why you're ill and what, all you can do is keep going to them and getting them to do the tests that are needed. But actually, trying not to overthink those things as well will help you settle, because actually there's a really close link between any illnesses that we have and, we're still experiencing our illnesses through our thinking. So actually, the more you can allow your mind to settle and trust in the process and trust that the doctor will be, doing whatever tests that they need to do to find things out, then just go with that and stay with that, and try and allow yourself, again, as we were just saying with the last example, some permission to just be as you are. And, if you're frustrated because you don't know what it is, you're allowed to be frustrated. But there's a difference between being frustrated and then taking that frustration to another whole layer on top of layer of thinking, and then convincing yourself that something really terrible's happening. Because at least you're getting checked, which is the main thing. Because if there is something that is untoward or something that is wrong, then it will come out. They will find it if they are testing and checking you out. So I hope you find out soon what it is. Okay, so I think that is pretty much it. Oh, it was Amanda. Thank you so much. I will try to be kind to myself. Luckily, I have family to support me. Sod's law, it's my daughter's first day at school too. Well, of course it bloody is. Nothing ever feels easy, does it? Do you know what? Maybe get it all out the way in one go. And the fact that you've got family to support you is brilliant. Actually, probably your family, nobody will be expecting anything of you apart from you. Yeah, please do be kinder to yourself. Allow yourself permission. You're not going to go into this feeling... You're not going to go into the hospital to take your child for an op skipping, are you? It's going to be shit. It's going to feel shit at times. It's not going to be shit. It's going to feel shit, because you're going to have thoughts about it. And it will work out. It will absolutely work out. So Okay, let's have a look. So here, terrified of what happens after you die. Okay, so I get asked a lot about this, or this is a fear for a lot of people. In fact, I would probably say we would struggle to find even one human being who hasn't at some point in their life had a thought about death and what that means and what happens, or how, for some people it might be how they're going to die, what that's going to be like, or what about somebody else that might die. Like, every single human being will have thoughts about that, because it's the one thing that we absolutely all have in common, that we are going to experience death of others and of ourselves. And what this really comes down to is when people are really trying to be in control, in a way, it can always end up going to this, because it's the one thing that no matter how much we try or how much we try and think it through, we can't control it. None of us know. None of us know. And, you know, it's that, this might sound really like silly, but it's that thing of, you know, how do we, I'm trying to think how to explain it. When we have those thoughts that pop in, like I said right at the beginning of this video, it could be something completely random. And we can't have a thought about what will happen when we die. Now, that thought will come, and it may come with some discomfort. That thought may create some discomfort in your feelings. Now, that will then pass. It won't stay forever. You'll move on to something else in your head shortly after that. The only way it's going to stay around is if you then start going, okay, I will now go through every eventuality about what might happen when we die, and I'll try and figure it all out. You're holding on to it. It's like you've got the thought and you've grabbed it and you're like, I'm going to keep it here in my head at the forefront of my mind until I've figured it all out. And it can't go anywhere because you're holding on to it tightly. Whereas actually when we have that thought and it's uncomfortable, but we kind of go, I'm not going to layer it, I'm not going to try and figure it all out, it will just go. It will just float off. So it's really, again, comes back to this idea of understanding more about thought, how it works, and so that we are more able just to let them go and just to let it float off, because we can't stop ourselves from having these thoughts. And as I say, every single human being will have thoughts about that at some point. And it's kind of like it comes up and you're thinking about death, and then the only difference between someone who's really suffering because they're really struggling with the thought of death versus someone else is just that someone else will just go, oh, why would I think about that? I'm not going to think, you know, I'll think about something else. Or someone else goes, oh, all right, I need to work all this out. I need to know. And it's an answer that you're never, ever going to have. Ever. Because we just don't know. How do you help someone whose life is coming to an end, but they are so petrified? Okay, so, yeah, so it's a reality for them. But they will have, my guess is, having been around people, having been around people at the end of their life, is, you know, actually more often than not, they're worried about everybody else. And it's like any kind of worry, actually. It's the what ifs, isn't it? It's the future, it's the uncertainty and the unpredictability. So again, it is about realizing that if they are faced with that reality, which, yeah, will have a whole load of thought attached to it, of course it will, but actually trying to figure it out and trying to predict what's going to happen is not going to change any outcome. And it's about realising that, really, and being okay with the fact that they may have really sad thoughts one day, might really scared thoughts one day, and it's okay to have all of those feelings and that they don't have to have it all figured out. But yeah, it's really hard, and all you can do to help someone is just be alongside them and actually distract them and talk about different things and talk about nice memories. Because when we're smiling, when we're feeling love and we're remembering things that were really joyous and lovely, it's really hard to be scared at the same time. So that would be my advice. Okay, I'm going to answer one more question here. And, excuse me. And, I'm trying to stop hurting, but so hard. I don't want to be here no more. So much pain. No one understands me. I feel better if I was not here. I've got no family or friends to support me. Trying so hard, being on my own, and feel there's no point. Struggling every day. It's hard with no food, no money. I feel better if I just kill myself because there is no pain. Okay, so obviously, Craig, feeling quite distressed. Craig, will you send me a private message so that I can answer you properly without doing it on here, so that I can end this? And then, so Craig, send me a message and so I can talk to you. Okay. All right, everyone. It would be great if you would share this video if it's been of any help to you whatsoever. And I will see you next Tuesday for more questions. Okay, bye. Craig, make sure you message me. Bye.